excited, you guys. This is the last Manifest 31 vlog video for the year of 2021. And it has been a year. And I am so grateful to everybody that has come on, everybody that has supported, everybody that just watched. But I wanted to end this year out and end Manifest 31 on the foundation of hope, faith, and also knowing that you are equipped for this journey that you are about to go into, this next season, this next chapter, because it's been a year. And I could not have done that with not only Noah's amazing godfather, but he is a minister, he is an entrepreneur, he is a coach, brother, uncle, he is just so many things. But most of all, he is a compassionate man that I've had the opportunity to know since I was a teenager. So without further ado, I introduce to you Minister Michael Lakey.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here and have this opportunity. I'm so proud of you, for one, for even having the heart and the vision to do this for us, the community who has experienced so much this year and years beyond. So I'm just happy to be here, and I'm excited to see what tonight's gonna hold.
Yes. So let's get into it, because I'm ready for you to help us know we ready.
Don't put too much pressure on me. Don't put
just a little pressure. I just need a little pressure, you to know that you're getting us out. So all gyms, we need all.
I don't need the pressure.
All right, but so we know that this has been a year. We know everything has been an emotional roller coaster. But the one thing about Manifest 31 and why that name came about was the belief that you can manifest your vision, your dreams, your goals, and heal at the same time. So many times we think, oh, I got to work on myself here first before I can get to that, or I can achieve that. So I want to know, in this season, what is one word that you would consider that you're trying to manifest in this season or next?
That's so powerful. I think for me, I'm gonna use it in a one word. I'm gonna say my one word is me, but if I could use a subtitle, I would say it would be called Michael Anthony Lakey. That's the one thing I want to manifest in this season, is my true authentic self, maximizing my potential. For so long, I feel as if now currently, if you ever been to like a comedy show or any performance, the performer always stands behind the curtain and wait for the announcer to say, welcome to the stage. I feel like currently I'm just standing behind the curtain waiting to, for God to open up the curtain. So I'm just in this season being very intentional about creating spaces of peace for myself and doing what really makes me happy, what puts a smile on my face. So I would call this season of manifestation me.
I've never heard anyone say that, but it's so real for this time period.
Yeah.
So many of us, we're moving and we're doing things, but a lot of us are kind of, we're behind. Like,
exactly.
Should we go yet? But we're waiting on that. This is your time. This is when I need you to move.
Absolutely.
I think that's powerful. What you said is I'm manifesting me.
Yeah.
Okay. So we already talked about it. We said it a couple of times this year. Change is inevitable. Period. Like, there is no growth without change.
Exactly.
And it can become overwhelming. It can become definitely, it can make you feel as though, okay, what do I do next? How do I overcome this? So how can one learn how to manage these emotions when it comes to change, and knowing that they're equipped for the journey? Because sometimes it's like, okay, this change happened, but do I have everything I need to move?
Yeah. Great question. I think first, you really have to be honest and step into the fact that change is inevitable. Although it may catch you by surprise, it's inevitable. You may not like it, inevitable. It may not feel good, inevitable. It may make you cry, inevitable. So I'm gonna kind of answer the question on how I will respond, being a person who likes to prepare, very analytical. I like to have a plan in place. I'm a bullet point person. I travel with an itinerary. Like I need to have stuff in order and know exactly what's going on. It's good and bad. But if I knew that change was inevitable, then my response, me as a Mike Lakey, my response would be, how do I best position myself in the best way that's advantageous for me to come up out on top of this change? So if I know change is coming, then let me start to position myself in the best way that's advantageous for me to grow, to mature, to have the best possible outcome ahead of this change. And we do that, I would say, three things. What we need to learn more to do when it comes to change is learn to prepare, learn to plan, and then learn to execute those two things. I'll give you an example. I'm an avid traveler, so I love to travel anywhere. I don't care. But I fly. I don't like to drive. I fly, not fly Delta, by the way, if anybody was wondering. um, so anytime you take a flight, once you get on the plane, the captain says, buckle your seat belts and prepare for takeoff. Or buckle your seat belts and prepare for landing. Either you're going up or down, you're ascending or descending, but the message is the same. He's saying prepare for something that's about to happen. Mm. If you're getting ready to leave, if you're flying Delta like me, then immediately following those instructions, there's going to be a video that gives you the plan on what to do in case something happens. So the video, if you fly Spirit, they're going to do it in person, pull out all these prompts and stuff.
Okay, because I was like, I ain't seen that video. I know what you're talking about.
No offense, if you can fly for Spirit, fly Spirit. but they're going to show the video and it's going to say, in case of emergency, do this. In case of emergency, you're going to get your oxygen mask, you're going to come down, put it on yourself first, and then begin to help others. In case of emergency, your life jacket is underneath. Blow it up with the thing, blah, blah, and the light is going to come on as soon as you hit the water. In case of emergency, here are your exits. So now the captain has already told us to prepare for what's coming. Now we have a plan for what's to come. Only thing left to do is us to execute when that thing happens. So we prepare, we plan, and execute. And that's how we kind of fortify ourselves when change happens, when change comes. I like to be prepared. I like to have a plan. And if I have those things, I think being able to execute. And not to prolong, I just thought about this. If I was to add a fourth one, I would say learning how to pivot.
Ooh,
learning how to pivot. When you master how to pivot, nothing can catch you by surprise. When you become a master of pivoting, nothing can catch you by surprise.
I want to challenge you on that just a little bit, because I think that's where a lot of us are, right? I think a lot of us are, because it's that prepare, plan, and execute. And we tried it, and some of the things that came in 2021, 2020, we couldn't plan for, we couldn't prepare for in some places, and we just needed to pivot, right? How do you get to that place mentally when you don't feel as though you have the material, the resources, the people to pivot?
So pivoting is a muscle memory thing. So you can either wait until it happens to try to teach yourself how to pivot, or you can already have exercised it. You can already have practiced it. So you don't practice in the midst of it. You practice before it happens, so that when it occurs, you're good. You know how to do it. Now, pivoting may look different from circumstance to circumstance, situation to situation, even person to person. However, practicing pivoting, and I would say practicing pivoting in the smaller things. So not everything is a big dramatic thing, and not everything is a big old, fuss. We make a fuss about some stuff is just a small thing. It's a small problem. But even in those small problems, begin to change your perspective on how you see it, even how you speak about it. So what that means is I'm no longer calling a problem a problem. When I'm faced with that, I'm calling it an opportunity. I'm changing up my perspective. So if I say problem, my emotions already negative. I'm angry, I'm upset. I got something else I got to do, something else I got to fix. Somebody else needs some help with something else I got to carry on my shoulders, another responsibility. But when I flip it, my perspective, and I say, it's an opportunity, then now that negative feeling is not so much heavy on me. Now I have an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to do something that I didn't do before, an opportunity to help somebody, even though it's going to make me maybe, I'm gonna go to work late 15 minutes. I'm gonna have to spend a little extra money, but that's a problem to most, but it's an opportunity for me because I'm able to do something for somebody, make them happy, put a smile on their face, or even grow internally for myself, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. And I just want to repeat those 4 things, which is prepare, plan, execute, and pivot. And we were talking in the basis of change, because one thing change is inevitable, we talked about, but we also talked about changing the mindset of problems versus opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Or your perception. Change your perception.
So, and I have to go back up. Let me back up, because you used the plane, even though you was going on Spirit. It's okay. It's okay.
No, I would never go on Spirit. I'm just playing. Let's look at Spirit. Fly however you can fly.
Fly high. Okay. So, but I did just that mentality that you're either 2 things are happening: preparing to take off or preparing to land.
And that's good.
That is good.
That's good. I didn't realize. I said that, didn't I?
You did. That's why I had to bring it back. I was like, you said
that's why you're the host. That's why you're the host.
Because so many of us, again, preparing to take off in a lot of different things, but you also have to have the mindset of preparing to land too.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
That's good. Come on. See, you don't even need me tonight.
I need you. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. We got to keep going. Okay, so I'm gonna have y'all marinate on that, because we're gonna come back to that. But I really want to talk about emotions, right?
Okay.
We talked about change. We talked about pivoting and planning, but let's talk about emotions, because emotions, it's anger, sadness, happiness, joy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of emotions this year. It's a lot of emotions and a lot of things that are affecting one's mental health. I want to talk about the climate and the weight, if you're okay with it, specifically on men. And I know that you can't speak for everyone.
Yeah.
But specifically the weight right now and the targeting around Black men. Can you talk about any of the emotions you have to personally ever have to deal with or dealing with right now?
I think for me personally, it's just a lot. And it's never ending. But it's like it's on that cut and keep putting the Band-Aid off, put a Band-Aid on that cut, you keep putting the Band-Aid off. So we're never really getting that chance to heal. I feel like, because it's a constant cycle of things just happening unjustly. And it's not a good feeling at all. It's not a good feeling at all. I think in order to deal with these emotions, though, as a man, we got to be more honest about how we feel. We got to be more honest with ourselves about how we feel. And then we have to be honest with sharing how we feel. No matter how much they do to silence us, we have to speak up even louder. No matter how much they try to make our voice null and void, we have to turn the volume up even the more and really be honest about how we feel. I think that's where the power lies, is us speaking up and really not being afraid of emotions. A lot of men I know, we were afraid of emotions. We're afraid to feel. We're afraid of being vulnerable. I'll probably talk about that a little bit later, but it's time out for that. It's time for us to let our voices be heard and turn the volume up. They're going to keep pressing. We're going to keep turning the volume up even louder.
I think that's powerful what you just stated, which was turning the volume up, even when society, even when different things are trying to just pile on, whether it is a man, whether it is a woman, whether it's a child, it's time to turn the volume up and be
Yeah.
honest with where we are. Because for us to know or be prepared for where we're going, we have to actually start to accept and also actually engage with where we are, because so we don't repeat certain things in the future.
That's right.
Repeat certain things in that journey. So I thought that was powerful. What you said is that it's not time to become mute. It's time to use that voice, to use those emotions, not use them in a negative way, but use them in a way that's going to challenge you to grow to the next step, the next journey, the next level. Because many of us, we tend to not face it because, one, I know for me, and this is just speaking on my behalf, and in my past, I would not actually face certain things because I was like, you know what, it's gonna bring out a side of me that I don't want, to feel. Rather that's angry, rather that's a sad. I don't want to feel that. So I'm not gonna face that. And then 3 years later, here goes a situation. And if I would have faced it then, I would have been able to feel what I needed to feel. So I can now prepare to plan, to execute, and know how to pivot when different things happen. But because I did not take that time to actually feel, to be honest, and I turned my volume down, that made me not be prepared for those other situations that occurred. But I think that was powerful, and I wanted to really speak on that because I've done that in my past where I turned my volume down because I was too afraid to feel and be honest with myself, not those around me, but to myself.
That's good. And that was gonna be the next thing. That was so powerful that you shared that, because turning your volume up in your case was for you internally. So we got two different ways where we can work this. We can turn the volume up so that others can feel and see and hear us emotionally. But sometimes we need to turn the volume up too ourselves so that we can have the confidence that we need to push into and face those tough emotions that we try to shy away from. But they are inevitably there to help us become better and grow us to the next level.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
That segues to the next topic, which goes into conflict, right? So let's talk about conflict.
Yikes.
Right. So I'm just gonna be plain and simple with y'all. I don't like conflict, but I learned that being able to resolve conflict, being able to face conflict is a very powerful tool for not only you, but also for leadership, as well as encountering or raising children. Being able to know how to engage in conflict in a respectful way allows you to not only learn how to communicate, but also learn how to engage somebody else and be able to get their perspective without taking personal or taking offense. So I want to talk to you about conflict. Can you kind of give me some thoughts?
Listen, you already took all my nuggets I have.
No, I know you got some nuggets.
I'm over here taking notes. I'm like, all right.
I know you got some nuggets. That's why I said you got to be on here because I know you got some. I was just dropping a little bit of mine because I'm just gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna be honest with where I'm at.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm gonna be honest too. I used to be there too, so I definitely know how that feel and know how it feels to shy away from conflict and kind of isolate yourself and avoid conflict. Similar to like emotions, like you just don't want to deal with it. I know this is gonna have a negative outcome or a negative impact, and I just rather grab a hold or sustain a little bit of peace I do have rather than making myself be involved with that conflict. However, I feel like conflict is God's way of stretching us to become better. Conflict is God's way of stretching us to become better, showing us that there's more that we can endure, that we don't have to stay stagnant at one level, but conflict comes to push you into something that you didn't think that you could otherwise be, become, or do. So without conflict, it's very hard for you. And I'm talking about conflict in a general way. So I'm not just talking about conflict with, amongst your peers or anything like that. But conflict is not a bad thing. There's good conflict, right? So I teach this to some of my leaders that I coach, this equation. I'm gonna give you this quick equation. If you don't like it, just delete it. No, I'm just scratch over it. So I want you to write down the letter E, then hit a plus sign. It's an equation, right? The letter R, write an equal sign, and then the letter O. So E plus R equal O. So under the E, I want you to write event or events. I want you to write conflicts. I want you to write problems, and then write as well the unexpected. So you got events, conflict, problems, and the unexpected. So now plus under the R, write my response. Under the R, write my response. And then lastly, under the O, write outcome. So you got my events, my conflicts, my problems, the unexpected, plus my responses equals the outcome. So in the entire equation, there's only one thing that we have no control over. Let's just call this the equation of life, conflict. That we have no control over. We have no control over the E. We have no control over when life happens, the events that may occur, when conflict chooses to present itself, when problems come, and then those unexpected things that none of us like to deal with. So we have no control over. It's just the way God made it. We don't know, all we know, we wake up, we go into work, we plan on having a good day, then we get that customer that start going off and our whole day is messed up. So we had no control over that customer coming in, going off. So, however, I don't have control over the life happenings events that may occur, but I do have control over how I respond to the events that happen. So depending on how disciplined I am in my responses will determine how good, equal of an outcome I'm going to have. So as it relates to conflict, if we learn how to be disciplined in our responses to conflict, then we can then know how we're going to have a positive outcome or a negative outcome, or an outcome that stretches me to grow, or an outcome that pulls me to retreat or to digress or to become worse. So being disciplined in my responses to the events that happens will give me more control over the outcome of what happens.
Wow. So events, conflicts, problems, life, plus my response equals the outcome.
Correct.
So being disciplined in your response is really vital, because that's what you control.
Exactly.
So exactly. That sounds good. But we know life happens.
Life happens.
And that response sometimes it don't be
it's not a hard, it's not easy. I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. It's a work. It's a work that you do to be disciplined in how you respond to a thing. I can choose to let my emotions get the best of me if something happens. That's a choice, that's a decision, that's a response. I choose to be frustrated because of something happened. I choose to make a bad decision the moment based off what happens to me. It's all about responses. Or on the reverse, something happens, life moments happens, whatever it may be, I can choose a better response that will give me a better outcome. It's not going to be, it may not be, the best outcome that you wanted, but it's better than what could have happened, or better than what could have been. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
No, it does. And that's the practice it takes, again, with your responses, with even the little situations, the little moments. Even with myself, I still find myself, if certain things happen, and it could be small, it could be with no one not taking the garbage out, and I'd be like,
yeah, got you. So I'm a firm believer and Jesus and a therapist.
Mhm.
I'm a firm believer in having Jesus and a therapist. So if you don't have a therapist, get you a therapist. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, Self-care for me, I want all my business. No, self-care for me is just me taking time to reflect on where I've been, reflect on where I'm at, and then also evaluate where I want to go. I don't think I do enough personally of just taking time to reflect because my life is so busy. I have so much I want to accomplish, so much I want to do. Sometimes it's hard for me to sit down and just reflect. Some even as reflecting on how far I've come, what I've overcame, which can be a powerful tool um, for us in the present to help us get to the future. So it's being grateful for how far you've come. Me, I like movies. I love movies. So I at least go to one movie a month. I mean, a week, not a month, a week. So every Thursday, new movies come out. So between Thursday and Friday, I'm at the movies or at the show. That's just what I love to do. So I made a promise to myself to do more of what I love to do. Um, it's also me setting healthy boundaries. So knowing when to say no, not overextending myself. Um, People like us, because I know you're a kindred heart to mine, that just love helping people, have a huge, ginormous heart for everybody, and wish we were able to do so much and do everything and be Superwoman and Superman for everybody. Sometimes that's unhealthy for us because that's a lot of weight on us. So we have to set those healthy boundaries and then also learn when it's okay to say no.
Mhm. It was a couple things that stood out to me. I'll say it too, but it could be more because I feel like I was pulling them as you were saying them. But one of them is just doing what you love at the end
Yeah.
of the day. Like going back to that,
Yes.
we do so much for everybody else, we forget that it's important for us to do what we love.
Yes.
Um, and then also reflection, right? Like you said, and it was something you said key to me was so many of us, and I know you was talking about you, but so many of us have been through so much in the last couple of years, but also have overcome so much, have
So
achieved
much.
so much, have done so much on the midst of a lot of things happening.
Yes.
So taking
Yes.
that time of self-reflection to not just reflect on the entirety, which is
Yeah.
important, but also reflect on what you got through.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And when you do that, you may realize that you're not in a bad shape that you thought you were. You're not in the baddest as bad a spot that you thought you were. You've overcome so much. You've overcame. You've gone through so much. You've made it through hard days and tough times. But sometimes just going through the hustle and bustle of life, we forget those things that we've overcome, and then we're presented with the same similar situation, and that freaks us out. But then we forgot, like, wait, I got through that before. I've
Mhm.
been through that before,
Yeah.
you know. So reflection can be a powerful tool to help you get through the future
And
and the present.
we're just gonna jump into it. I know I have like another question, but I feel as though this is the perfect opportunity for this one, which is the equip for the journey, right? I want to end off there. We named that this topic going into this next season, but you're equipped for the journey. What does that mean? How did you take that?
Um, Me being equipped for the journey first brought to mind something that I learned a couple years ago when I experienced a traumatic experience. That life is full of, or life is a combination of valleys and mountains. And depending upon how you steward either the valley experience or the mountain experience will determine how you get through the next. So it's that journey, right?
Mhm.
The thing about that is the valley, whether you're in the valley or the mountain, none of them last forever. And there's always a new valley and a new mountain. But everybody wants to, I want to get on a mountaintop. I want to have a mountaintop experience. I want to, be on the top. but they forsake the valley. But it was when I was in the valley that I learned how to dream in a dry place. I learned how to dream again. I got revived in the valley to prepare me for my mountain experience. There's some stuff I learned in the valley that if I didn't sit through that valley experience, if I didn't journey through that valley experience, there's no way I would have made it to my next, be able to handle, the new problems that come, because the higher you go, the atmosphere changes. So, but it's in the valley where I get the training, the development, the resources, the tools that I need, the growth, the maturity, the breaking sometimes, right? The refining, so that I can handle when I get to that mountaintop. And then it's a continuation, it's a continual thing. It's a journey, right? So I'm not satisfied with hitting this mountaintop. There's another mountaintop I want to hit. But before every mountaintop, there's a valley. But in every valley, there's a lesson along the journey. And I think we skip the lesson because of, one, we're impatient. It's not what we want. It doesn't feel comfortable. It's stretching us.
Oh, get out my purse! Get out my purse!
It's all of those things. So don't shy away from the valley, because it's in the valley where you're going to get everything that you need along your journey to get to the top.
Ooh. Man, I think you just hit it right there. Right there, the nail. Yeah. Papa being in my purse and my wallet and my card spot.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm this is my last thing I'm gonna say. There's so many casualties in the valley of people who give up before they make it to the mountaintop, because they never realized how close to the top they really were. So you give up too soon because you're tired of experiencing what you're experiencing, not knowing that your mountaintop is one thing away. You're one thing away. You're one moment away, one season away from that breakthrough, one season away from your whole situation changing, your whole life changing. If you just hang on in there, you've been in it this long, so why give up now? If you got through all of that, you can get through what's next.
Also, let me tell y'all, every person I done had on this has made me drop a mic, drop a pen, drop a marker, drop something, right? But I think it is, if we're going to end this year out with Manifest 31 on anything, it's the fact that every person that has been on here has been in some type of valley. It has not been easy for anybody that I brought on here. They're not, what's the word, when it's immortal or invincible, where they have not been touched by life, right? They have not been touched by life. So I think it's just so powerful right now that we talk about the valley, and you said it too. Don't give up too soon.
Don't give up too soon. Don't give up too soon. Here's why. Here's something that I do. It's a technique that I use. I put my hand on my chest every time I have those tough valley moments, those tough seasons, those experiences where I feel like I'm almost about to quit or give up. Put my hand on my chest. I inhale, take a deep breath, I exhale. Inhale, take a deep breath, I exhale while my hand is on my chest, right? I know in school they taught us that's breathing, right? But as long as I can continue to inhale and exhale, that means I still have purpose. I'm breathing, but inhaling and exhaling means I also have purpose. So me feeling that reminds me I still have purpose, because if I didn't, I was put on the earth for a reason. So until I finish purpose, till my clock expires, until God decides to call me home, I still have a purpose. As long as he keeps waking me up every morning, that means he still has something for me to do. So I still got a reason to keep fighting, keep pushing, keep journeying through whatever what life has you, wherever life has you, keep journeying through that. It's going to change. It won't always be like that. You got purpose.
Michael Lakey, I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you for just reminding us that we are equipped for this journey.
Yes, ma'am.
And that we still have purpose. And as we're ending this, I just want to thank everybody for this year. And I just want to leave you with that. Do not give up too soon.
No, man.
Whatever. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I had such a great time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I pray that God just bless you so much, gives you the desires of your heart, blows your mind in a tremendous way, goes above your expectations in this next year as you uh, do and endeavor to whatever you have planned. I know you got some big stuff planned coming up. So I just pray God's blessings and best for you.
I receive it. I receive it. Until next time, you guys. See y'all January 5th. January 5th.